Well, good morning and welcome to the United Arab Emirates and Dubai for round 3 and tomorrow round 4 of the Asia Le Mans Series of 2025-2026. Already 2 in the books from December in Sepang in Malaysia. I'm Graham Goodwin, joined as always by Sports Car Racing legend Oliver Gavin.
Great to be here, GG.
Absolutely, with David Anderson going to be on pit lane duty, the glamorous David Anderson as we say. Lots of storylines to come. Qualifying this morning, it's 3 quick-fire 15-minute qualifying sessions, Ollie, on a circuit that everybody says is proving tricky, slippy.
Yes, it has been. A couple of sessions that we've had have been a little bit tricky for all of the runners here. I think there's been some teams that have tested here, tried to really understand what's going on. You know, with Mantai here down in the pit lane. They're one of the teams that's really trying to get to grips with what's going on here at the Dubai Autodrome. A lot of construction work going on in and around the area, and I think that is making things really quite tricky. Track temperature going up and down. We are early in the morning here at the Dubai Autodrome, so that track temperature is certainly going to be lower than I think a lot of these teams have seen. So it could surprise us here how some of these GT cars really switch the tyre on. The Michelin tyre they're on here, I think it's the H2 tyre that some teams are still sort of working to get to grips with here. But yeah, Kessel Racing, the winner actually out in Sepang, they had a phenomenal run there. Dustin Blattner will be taking the wheel of that car today in qualifying.
And he should be in the sharp end of this. We saw a quick shot of Yasser Shaheen climbing aboard one of the 2 JMR Corvettes, 4 Corvettes on the grid for this race, or this season indeed, and it was a double pole-setting performance in qualifying from Yasser. Maybe not the car for this track. And one of the great things about the years we've been coming here to the UAE, because it's not just this weekend in the UAE, Monday, this whole shebang gets back on the truck, if you like, and we go 45 minutes from now down the road to Yas Marina to complete the season. And the great thing, particularly for GT, Ollie, is traditionally cars that have been strong here are not necessarily that strong when we get to very different surroundings in Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE.
Yes, absolutely. We're just seeing Blake McDonald there, going to be getting on board one of the TF Sport number 11 car. And, JMR, this is the car, or certainly one of the team car that was on pole position in Sepang. So
this is Prince Jeffrey's car. He'll be aboard the car for this qualifying session. The 66 it was on pole position in GT in Malaysia with Yasser.
Yeah, but I think that there are going to be a number of teams that are looking for that kind of switch when it comes to Yas Marina. We're not seeing such performance from the Corvette here in Dubai, but let's see. We've seen quite a big swing in performances, and certainly that's what makes it kind of intriguing here for qualifying, just to sort of see what people can do in the cooler conditions here this morning. Track temp won't have got up that much, and we're certainly going to wait and see how these. All of qualifying has to be done by the bronze driver. That's something it's certainly one of the things that a lot of the teams focus on, in making sure that those bronze drivers get the time on track and they have a qualifying simulation.
15 minutes only to get this done, and remember 2 lap times, because the first and second fastest lap times for each car will determine the grid for first Saturday, today, the first race, and then tomorrow, Sunday's race. And we will be able to bring you, we hope, details of Saturday's race. We may have to do a little bit of guesstimation on the second one. Our timing screens are not helping with that at the moment. Here is the number 77 car. This is not the Hyundai Ames, this pink coloured car. This is Proton Competition and Banksy, the Japanese driver, one of the cars that's going to drive a change in here. 69, it'll be Tony McIntosh taking out the WRT car for this session. That's an unchanged crew, but I think there's 4, maybe 5 GT cars with driver changes this weekend.
Tony McIntosh was the winner here at the Dubai 24 Hours just a few weeks ago, so he has a huge amount of experience here on this track.
Yeah, so not far away from the track going live. The key here, Ollie, is get it done.
Absolutely,
Is get out there, get the tyres up to temperature, no mistakes, no red flags, because that could be disastrous for any number of these teams interrupting that flow in what is just 15 minutes.
Yeah, it is. As you say, 15 minutes. They've just got to get out there, get on with this. And, you know, certainly one of the things here at the Dubai Autodrome is that you're certainly looking for that spot and that space on the track. But if you can pick up a little bit of a toe up and down these rather large straights here, the front straight, and then also the ones coming from 9 all the way up to 10, we'll be able to see that shortly out on track, that if you can pick up a toe on those straights, that will give you some form of advantage. So are these guys going to be tactically looking to see how they can space themselves out on the track? I'm not so sure. It's going to be all about just trying to get out there, get everything up to temp, get everything warmed up, and you know, try and find that performance from these Michelin tyres.
So under a minute to go to the start of the session. 3 changes, by the way, to the bronze drivers we'll see in this session. We'll talk about those new names as we see the cars on track. Here's one of the cars that's at the sharp end of all the action in GT in Malaysia, the Origin Motorsport Porsche. Cracking stuff from Bob Yuan out in Malaysia in December. Let's see whether or not they can replicate that form here.
Yeah, we're just seeing some pictures inside the TF Sport Garage. And they've got those 2 cars here, Team Turkey, and then the car that's running Blake McDonald.
Yeah, seconds till we go green. Does it now, and away they go. 74, Dustin Blattner will be the first car away. There's a pause before we see the second car.
Yeah, seems to be having some problems getting away, but Kessler right down there at the very end of pit lane, at pit out.
So it's going to give Dustin Blattner quite...
well, it certainly gives
to shoot at, isn't
yeah,
it?
It certainly gives him the opportunity to do what he wants to do in getting the tyres up, brakes up, and getting himself in the right sort of mindset, and just getting himself acquainted to the grip level that's out there this morning. It will be different. They haven't run this early in the day here so far through the week.
Now we get the other cars away, so it's a couple of corners of clear track. We said the track's slippy. One of the reasons for that, as we get wider shots around this this circuit, I've been coming here for better part of 20 years.
Well, it's 20 years old now, isn't it? The racetrack itself.
But a huge, and I mean huge, amount of development around the track. I think something like 14 or 15 large residential structures right at the edge of the track. And of course, with that building work, we are really still in the desert here. There's an awful lot of dust around. We'll see the evidence of some of that that work as we come around here. Dustin already on that, what we call it, the back straight.
Yeah, and he's getting himself in a nice position here because there's nothing else that's going to be around him. Should have a clear piece of track to operate in. There's a couple of later sort of stragglers leaving the pit lane now, as we see. But yeah, it's going to be relatively clear track for Dustin. There's a number of cars all coming down and round through that section of turn 7, 8, and 9. They just need to give themselves some room. There is a huge amount of racetrack here. There are 20 runners in GT, but their teams just need to be talking to them here. Just look, all right, guys, just get yourself spread out. There's plenty of space, either behind or in front of you. You've got to try and make your mind up here and where you're going to be on the track. And so the teams need to be giving these less experienced drivers some guidance on that.
Bit of trouble, I think, at turn 7. Looks to me like Greg Bennett it is. That car's turned around. But Greg looks like he's getting that all gathered back up and away he goes again. It looks
fine. It looks clean. There's no damage on it. But it's whether he's done anything to the tyres. I would say unlikely, because it's quite low speed there as you're coming off of turn 7. It's the lowest point of the racetrack. We're looking at around about 100 k's an hour when they're up to racing speed.
Porsche, you can see how slippy it is there.
Yeah, that would have given him a little bit of a fright. Yeah, just the way that the car snaps. We know that there's a number of cars that have come off of that curb there on the exit of turn 9 that have had some problems and some issues. And there was quite a big accident here in the Dubai 24 hours in the lead up to the race and during the race, you know, with that curb. So it is something that these guys need to be mindful of on board here with Blake McDonald.
Yeah, one of the last 2 cars out from pit lane. So all 20 cars out on circuit now. Clock, of course, ticking down. And we've got cars now onto their first flying laps. Speed will build here. Time will build here.
Blake McDonald just being very careful here, trying not to touch any of those curbs. As the tyres are coming up to temperature and pressure, he's trying to make sure that he's keeping the car off those curbs. You touch a curb here when those pressures are low, it can actually damage the tyre. So he's clearly being sort of given some instruction just to be very cautious, very careful, bring those tyres up to temp and up to pressure, really being keeping it really well within inside the white lines, and now coming up to speed as we come down towards turn 10.
Sean Galil there in the AF Corsa garage, one of a number of drivers trying out some different machinery ahead of the start of the FI World Endurance Championship in what, about a month's time. I'm going to say just up the road. It's not just up the road, but in the region in Qatar.
So we're now seeing here Dustin Blattner just getting into a little bit of the traffic that we were sort of talking about. He's got himself nicely out in front, but there's a few stragglers that he's now catching. It does seem that everybody's going quite gently and quite carefully here.
By the way, that was the 2018 WRT car, rebranded from Sepang. And with a couple of replacement drivers, Sergei Stolyarov it is, and I think Sergei is a previous race winner in the Asia Le Mans Series. I seem to remember him getting a race win possibly in Sepang with a Mercedes a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's Blake McDonald that Dustin Blattner's got to deal with. After that, though, he's got quite a clear track.
Yeah, Blake just getting out of his way, just making sure that he's giving him plenty of room. Just want to make sure that Blake's just not picking up any debris on those tyres, just keeping them nice and clean, and so he can start his run here. Being behind Dustin's not a bad thing. Dustin is certainly seen as one of the fastest bronzes in the world at the moment, and he was winner of the GT World Challenge in Gold Cup, I believe.
That's right, yep.
Last year with Kessel.
Something of a star with us last year here as well, wasn't he? He was looking quite focused over in the paddock this morning.
Yeah.
Steve Jans, another replacement driver here in the number 9 Get Speed. He knows this place like the veritable back of his hand.
He's a regular, isn't he, with Get Speed as well?
He is. And Steve, recognised by Mercedes-AMG as one of their highest performing customer racers, non-professional customer racers, their end of season awards.
Yeah, we're seeing sort of times of 2:09 at the moment, but I think we're going to see around about 10 seconds faster than that when everybody gets everything up to temperature. I think we're going to see a lot of growth in the lap time here. So, yeah, it's a lot of blue and purple on the timing screens in all the different sectors. And Bojan was on for a very quick lap there. I think he's just breathed it just to give himself some time and some space. As you can see, Blake McDonald just there in the background, just looking to get him those tyres on the Corvette Z06 GT3R, just warmed up and just going. It's just taking a little time here for everybody to get everything in the window.
Dustin Blattner, by the way, not pushing on this lap, so he still feels there's work to do to get more heat into the tyres. So aboard the number 10 Montai briefly. This is the Courier Cross Blackthorn Aston Martin. Very fast all the way through this week. I see these guys as being real challengers for pole position today and also for the race win. They had a pretty strong run in Sepang in one of the races, and they got a podium there. And these guys focused. They can see that they've got a very good chance here. This car will go well here, but I think it'll also go very well at Yas Marina. Yeah, looking forward to this weekend. It is a very intense week of motorsport. 4-hour races over the next 9 days, starting this afternoon. Join us live, by the way, at 13:40 local time, just for wherever you are in the world, but 13:40 local time we will be live. And then a 4-hour race this afternoon, similar tomorrow, and then repeat for Yas Marina to complete the season and to award the championships for the Asia Le Mans Series of 2025-26. There we go. Yeah. Steve Jans, 2 minutes, 0.408. Completely wrong, Oliver Gavin. You said 10 seconds quicker. That's only 9 seconds quicker.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know.
Disappointing.
Very. A
man of your ability. Yasser Shaheen, meanwhile, getting up to speed. He's second fastest at the moment, but that's not quite a representative time yet. There's still more to come. Yeah, I think we're going to see a few frustrated drivers here. Cars not really in the window, not quite there, and then there's other cars coming through, like this Petrobelli machine, and he's clearly on it, and he's going to be going towards the top of the timesheets. Goes second there. Yeah, still, still at 9/10 off what Steve Jans did. Steve did look like he'd managed to place a really good lap together, and Giacomo Petrobelli here looks like he's being somewhat held up into turn one, and it looked like he had to work through some traffic towards the end of that previous lap. Johnny Adam there, his coach and teammates to Giacomo Petrobelli. Those two, I think they had British GT together last year. They did. I mean, Johnny, the record holder for the number of British GT titles he holds. Steve Jans, though, as we Keep an eye on Dustin Blattner, the first man under 40 seconds for the first sector. And Dustin Blattner now is on a flying lap, slightly slower in the first sector, purple in the second sector. He's up, but just marginally on the second, session leading time at the moment.
Yeah, and Dustin using all of his experience now, and he's getting quite experienced as a bronze driver, knowing where to place this Ferrari 296 and what bits of the racetrack to use, and certainly using a lot of apex curb there, and then the way that the car's driving off the final corner.
Yeah, Kessel Racing, delivering in this car at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
Crosses the line now, Dustin Blattner. He is second quickest, just under 2/10 off Steve Jans, but there's more to come from this car and this session. Under 6 minutes to go. Here comes Jans, and it's track limits in the final sector, and that ruins what coulda, shoulda, woulda been a provisional pole setting time for the Get Speed AMG.
Yeah, they've got
now
a
sitting duck.
Yeah, they've got to keep all four wheels, well, at least one of the wheels inside the white line, let's say, to make sure that they've got at least one part of their car on the racing surface. So that white line that you're seeing on the outside of the track here, they've always got to have one piece of the tyre touching the piece of tarmac that's sort of inside of that white line. So it's something that there's particular corners that all of the sort of marshals and let's say officials are watching and looking for, and they know the sort of key spots, and that could be one of those spots that Bo Jan's just gone over, that they'll be looking for track limits.
And remember, more expensive than for most of these 15-minute sessions, because they need 2 lap times.
Yeah.
In this 15-minute session. That second fastest lap time per car will be the determinant for the grid for Sunday's race. So it's new provisional pole setter. It's Abdullah Ali Al-Khalafi from the QMMF by Get Speed car, the second Get Speed car. That's the purple 37, head of Steve Jans. So it's the 2 Get Speed AMGs, first and second. 2 minutes, .275 is the new mark. More still to come, 4.5 minutes to go. Dustin Blattner sits third now. Andrzej Mukazov is the United Autosports replacement driver in the 59 McLaren. He sits fourth in the 720S Evo. Darren Young in a fine 5th place in his number 21 AF Corsa Ferrari, and Tom Van Rompuy fastest at the moment of the Corvettes. He sits 6th, and there's 9 tenths per second between those top 6, but timing screen still lighting up with purple and blue sectors. Blue for faster than that car has gone before, purple faster than anyone's gone before, and that right now is Steve Jans, who goes to the top of the times and under 2 minutes for the first time for the number 9 Get Speed AMG.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty hard to beat from what we've seen so far this week. And Steve does seem to be really dialed in. On board here, the 34 Corvette Racing Team Turkey, Tom Van Rompuy seems to be relatively comfortable with this car. They've been one of the faster Corvettes this week, but it just doesn't seem like that they can really get the most from the Michelin tyre around here, but goes fourth.
And that puts him as the quickest of the Corvettes, just edging back Blake McDonald, who had improved, by the way, to fourth. Steve Jans, 0.163 of a second ahead now of the Qatari entered Get Speed AMG. That car also under 2 minutes, so it's a fine effort there from Abdullah Ali Al-Khalafi.
Bo Jan just goes third there in the Orijan Motorsport Porsche. We're just watching Dustin Blattner work his lap here, and he is up, but only by a small amount, as he's coming through down to turn 13. Actually, he's lost some time in that second sector.
But this could be quite the headline, because the quickest first sector of the session has gone to the chasing Qatari entered AMG, up on the provisional pole time by under 1/10 of a second in that first sector. If they can get it all together in sector 2, this could be quite the headline for the world of Qatari motorsport. The car entered in the colours of Qatar and the Qatari Motorsport Federation. So Steve Jans, Abdullah Ali Al-Khalafi, Dustin Blattner, Bob Grant, Tony McIntosh now pops up in 5th place in the order. Blake McDonald, Tom Van Rompuy, Andrzej Mukavos, Giacomo Petrobelli and Memo Gidley are the top 10 right now.
Yeah, strong performance there by Blake McDonald to get that Corvette Z06 GT3 up into a decent spot. He'll be pleased with that. P6 at the moment. We just saw a picture there of Lauren Heinrich and Ed Turner. Ed Turner, one of the engineers here with Porsche, extremely experienced, worked with Ed many, many years ago. But Lauren Heinrich is he was the hypercar GTP winner at the Rolex 24.
Yeah, the star of the present and the future, that young man without a doubt. To the top of the times goes by 0.083 of a second. The number 37 Mercedes AMG, under a minute to go. Abdullah Ali Al-Khalafi, it is the new provisional pole setter. Is there going to be a response from anybody? I'm looking down the times here, and I'm not sure there's going to be. And with a good second fastest time as well, that was second in this session for a point here. This is a banner day for this effort.
Yeah, the Mercedes have been strong here over the last...
Steve Jans goes to the top, and that's because it's track limits on that lap. For the man we've just been calling as the provisional pole setter, loses that time, and it's Steve Jans back to the top.
Yeah, but they have been very strong, all of the Mercedes, over this last week. But this also this car in the hands of Anthony McIntosh has also been quick. And Tony was the winner here, the Dubai 24 Hours with Team WRT. And I think Tony's looking forward to the races here this weekend. Enjoys driving here at the Dubai Autodrome, but he's currently sitting in 5th spot.
Yeah, Justin Blattner first to see the checkered flag. He will do no better than 3rd. Also crossing the line, Blake McDonnell will be no better than 5th. I'm not looking at many major changes. Steve Jans will not improve. He sees the checkered flag. He's done track limits in Sector 1. It's just a quick reshuffle in the middle order. Looking to see what can be done by Abdullah Ali Al-Khalafi. Possible improvement here, but looking also, remember, to nail in that second fastest time. He's very close to the provisional pole time, but is this going to be a quick lap if he keeps it on the island?
Yeah, and he keeps it inside the track limits. I'm not sure if he's going to get pinged there. The apex at turn 13, it looked like he just took a little bit too much there. But let's just see what the officials say coming over the line.
He goes top. Pole. He goes top by 0.176 of a second. Will he keep it? We'll see that in just a few moments. But right now, it's a Mercedes AMG and a Get Speed 1-2, but it's the QMMF by Get Speed car of Abdullah Ali Al-Khalafi that is the pole sitter as things stand right now. And with 2 quick times from both of those cars, I think there's going to be a double whitewash for the front row for both races for Mercedes AMG.
Agree, and I think that the 37 car will keep its laps. And we're not having anything come up on the timing screen yet. That maybe they're reviewing a little bit of footage, but I think that it should be good. And yeah, like you say, Graham, I think it's going to be a Mercedes lockout for both races.
It's going to be QMMF, I think, a pole for this race, and I think it's going to be Steve Jans for tomorrow's race, by the look of things at the moment. But they really did deliver. And actually behind them, in terms of GT3 and modern racing, quite a gap, 0.2 of a second back to Dustin Blattner, who was certainly pushing very hard. So the AMGs have got single lap pace. We'll find out this afternoon whether or not that can be translated into single and double stint pace in 4 hours around what is a tricky race to judge in terms of tyre life. So getting the beauty shot that will be going all over social media across Qatar, I'm sure, this morning. Look at us, top of the times. Great stuff to see from that. Always good to see. The Asian Le Mans Series has had more than half a decade in this region. Coming here in response to, of course, the COVID pandemic, it's been quite the period here to watch the growth, not just of the Asian Le Mans Series, but also interested involvement in this region, Ollie. Yeah,
and first time today when we came into the track, we're just really seeing sort of the way all the officials are, and they're expecting a really good crowd here today, which is fantastic to see. And we've got a great grid. You know, we've got 20 cars here on the GT grid, but then we've got LMP3 and P2 to come, so total of 46 cars here on the grid, which is fantastic.
Following the Asian Le Mans Series this year, we, I'm afraid, have got one no-show. That's the EBM Aston Martin not with us here, with driver having dropped out at the last minute, so Earl Bamber's team not able to make the trip to the UAE, but 46 is still a mighty total. So that is GT. It will be LMP3 next. Let's just take a moment to welcome into pit lane a brand new pole sitter for the Asia Le Mans Series. This is quite the moment for this crew and for motorsport in Qatar and in this region. There are no places to hide on this grid. This is a proper international series now.
Oh, it is.
And you look down at the names, the bronze drivers here. WC racers galore here in the bronze ranks. And people in those ranks that have been on the front row of WC races in LMGT3.
And race winners.
And race winners. Abdullah Ali Al-Khalifi is about to talk to the glamorous David Addison down on pit lane.
God, he's looking good today, isn't he?
He looks fantastic.
Oh, always does, but today in particular, he really does look very special.
He's taken some trouble this morning, I think.
Done his hair.
Yeah.
Makeup?
No.
Oh.
No, there's no point.
It's too good.
There's Steve Jans putting in a performance good enough for the front row and likely pole tomorrow. And here is the pole sitter. Beautiful looking car, great livery, great performance from Abdullah Ali Al-Khalifi. Let's go down now to talk to him with David Addison.
Abdullah Al-Khalifi, that was a great session. Congratulations, first pole in the championship. How good a lap, how hard a lap was it?
Well, I honestly didn't know that I was on pole. My engineer was telling me keep pushing, one lap was deleted, so I really didn't know. But it looks super strong. We struggled yesterday with free practice 1. Luckily, we find the issue and we solve it for FP2, and the pace looks mega. Thanks to the team. It's a really great team, and the pace is actually coming from them, not from me, because we struggled so much yesterday.
You had one issue with track limits. How hard is it out there? How slippery is it?
First, well, we need to do additional preparation lap because it was a bit colder today and temperatures wasn't getting into the tires as quick. But yeah, my track limit was toward the end of the session, so I have no excuses.
And this car really seems to be suiting you. You went well in it in Sepang and obviously going well here.
It's, again, thanks to the team, because they provide the perfect setup. They listen to us, and it's really easy to drive once it is perfectly set up for each circuit.
Abdullah, fantastic job. Well done.
Yeah, great stuff from him there, and giving due credit to the GetSpeed team. But
it was very modest, wasn't he?
Yeah, taking something away from his own performance. Steve Jans is no pushover in an identical car. Let's face it. Albeit, well, I'm sure, with different setup. There is the qualifying result for race 1 this afternoon. Remember, live with us at 13:40 local, 1:59.595, and we're making our way all the way down the order. Greg Bennett did look as if he was having a bit of a struggle in that session, that early spin.
It does seem that the Ferraris have struggled more than others to get their tyres up to temperature, and certainly Dustin Blattner was one of those guys to really switch everything on and get a good lap time out of it.
Well, so far, so GT. Just seeing in the garage to the right-hand side there, another sports car racing legend, just like you, Big John Nielsen there. Le Mans winner, of course, with high-class racing. This is CLX Motorsport, our reigning champions in Europe, with a new look team here. But Paul Lancher, a double pole setter in Sepang. What seems like an eon ago.
Before Christmas.
Indeed, but here is the number 17, looking spectacular in the sunshine. First time here in Asia, of course, for this Gen 3 Toyota turbo-powered now LMP3. And, what is it, 470 horsepower?
470 horsepower, yeah.
But quicker in a straight line than the GT3s, just marginally quicker through the turns.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the entry sort of level of prototype car in ACO rules racing, and many drivers have sort of come up through the LMP3 class.
This is the car, though, that many people here today will be looking for and rooting for, and that's because of the presence of Ajith Kumar, a mega star in Indian cinema, and what a lovely chap. I spoke to him briefly at breakfast this morning. Belies his superstar status with his personality, this man.
Yeah, he's a super guy. Very nice.
He's going to be building speed here through the Asian Le Mans Series. This is part of a learning curve for him coming through GT racing. We'll see him in Europe as well this season in the Michelin Le Mans Cup. Circuit goes quiet for a moment before we start hearing the tones of turbo-powered Toyota V6s around. If the camera was turned around from here, you'd see just how much. There you go, David Allison sachets by on his glamorous way.
Actually, if they turned the camera around in that previous shot, we would have seen the hotel we're staying in.
We would.
Yeah, they would have seen sort of sweeping out your room with all the straw.
Yeah, it's like a pig bed in there. I take full credit for that.
Is that Lordy?
No, that's his Pedro.
Is it Pedro?
It is. Peter, yes, indeed.
There is Lord.
And waved.
Yeah.
So, cars ready to go. There is the second of the Team Farage cars, the number 8 car, in identical livery to the number 1 of Ajith Kumar. 10 cars in a well-formed field, 9 of which are Ligier JSP 325s and 1 single Duquesne from the Michelin Le Mans Cup champions of 2025. Just reminded myself last year, not this year. And that's another team, by the way, with a switch of drivers. Daniel Frost from Singapore aboard that car. And I think Daniel might be one to watch in this session. So we wait for this session to go live, and it does so as I say those words. Away we go. Volume up. There is the RSGP Duquesne in the train. Some familiar names, some new names. So it is going to be Ajith Kumar in the number 1 car for Team Virage. Romain Wozniak in the second Team Virage car. They come at the start at the head of the queue, the number 8 car. Into Europol competition, second and third at Daytona last weekend. They field locally based Alex Bekantsov, a race winner here previously in LMP3 in their number 13 car. It will be Louis Stern in the 23 events number 23. Breton Racing, Jacek Zielonka will be aboard their 26 car. Nick Adcock in the Frestia Racing by VPS 29, that's the black and green car. Terence Woodward, one to watch in this session in the 71 for 23 events. Shahan Sarkisian in the 85 Duquesne from RSGP. Tim Whale in the high-class racing number 94 car. We're waiting for the emergence from pit lane of the number 17. That should be Paul Lanchier.
Yeah, you're sort of on board here in the with the number 1 car, Ajith Kumar, and he is very gingerly working his way around the Dubai Autodrome. It does seem that everybody is very, very cautious this morning. Oh, big snap there as he got on the power. He's been very slow and sort of tight with his hands, let's say. And these are really tippy-toey points and moments as you're in the race car. Pressures are low, the surface temperature of the tyre is really not up there, and you're really trying to build that energy into the tyre. And it is quite tricky and sketchy points as you're driving around the racetrack here. Ajith Kumar is trying to get the temperature into the tyres by braking, accelerating, which is one of the best ways to get temperature into the tyres. But he's also trying to get the lateral load in. You can see he's just winding the lock into turn 10 and then back to the left here at turn 11, and you start working your way uphill here, but he's still very careful on the throttle and the way that he's coming up through the gears and then hitting the brakes coming into 12. Bumpy here, he's got to try and make his way back to the right-hand side there. And on the throttle, is the car going to have a snap? It does. And again, this just all illustrates how the tyre is not inside the window. The P3 runners only have 10 tyres to do qualifying and the race today, so they have to be very careful managing this resource that they've got and those Michelin tyres to go on their P3 cars. That they've got to be very, very careful how they bring them up and look after them for qualifying and the race.
The other point to make, by the way, on board with the Ligier, usually Ligier race cars traditionally right-hand drive. That came as a result of an assessment from Ligier of the circuits that they would normally race at. That's another transition for Ajith Kumar to make, because I'm pretty sure that every race car has raced up to this point in his relatively short career. As we see, that is Terence Woodward, I think, having a bit of a spin.
Yeah,
apologies, no, it's not. That is Nick Adcock, isn't it? The 29.
Yes, it is Nick. Yes, just got in a little bit
Sorry,
too deep
Terence.
there into turn 13. back up and running though. No harm, no foul. It's good.
That's Terence Woodward in the 71 car. So two very different.
One's green and one's red.
I know. How on earth did I make that error?
Well,
it's traditional.
I can see there's like 50 reasons actually. Which one do you want me to pick?
But no, the point here is the translation. There he goes.
Ajith Kumar just gone off there. I think it was that into turn one.
Yeah.
Just got in a little bit too deep there. Just you could see as he's winding the speed in, the rear of the car started to come and he didn't quite catch it quick enough.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that you have with this LMP3 car. You get this tend to get a sort of bit of a pendulum effect, and the rear of the car can start to come around on you if you just enter with a little bit too much weight on that front axle, and it just starts to unhook the rear, and the rear is just not quite up to temperature. Julian Gerby there.
Yeah, in the middle of shot in the sunglasses, the team manager at Team Virage looking after this effort for Ajith Kumar.
It's trying to get the tyre up to temperature. I keep talking about this, but it is one of the key things for this qualifying session as Tim Whale goes quickest. It's just trying to get the thing in the window.
Yeah, 5 thousandths over 2 minutes for Tim. Little more to come in this session, I'm sure. But that's a good banker lap to get on the board.
Yeah,
friends from Michelin there, enjoying it. There is Julian Gerby looking cool, calm, collected, but the tension will be there.
You can also hear as these drivers are getting onto the throttle, they're not getting back to it with confidence. It's all very progressive. You can just see where the car walked into turn 7 there. You've got to be really, really careful with the way that you deliver the car into the corner with your hands. If you overstress the tyre, it will soon snap, soon let go, and then you're sideways, and then the car's gone around and you're backwards.
Roman Wozniak going well, second quickest at the moment, picking up time here. Also on a good lap, by the way, one to watch is the number 17 CLX car, because Paul Lancher is up at the moment on the lead lap in this session, but so are others. It's going to start to change, and change quickly.
Yeah,
it's still pretty tippy-toe here.
It is, but you're getting the sort of body language from the race cars that they are very close to being there and in the window. We certainly the timing screens are reflecting that. Lots of purple splits.
Trouble, I think, for Alex Bekantsov down at turn 10. Yellow's there at the moment. See whether or not he can recover that car. And I think it's moving again. Yeah, yellow removed. So whatever moment Alex had has been tidied up and is back on his way. So still 10 cars out there, 10 cars underway, and the majority of them at the moment looking like they are in the window to improve on the current provisional pole time. Again, to remind you, not one lap, but 2 good laps required here for pole, the grid for both races this weekend. Crossing the line again here, and it's Tim Whale again, and he's the first under 2 minutes now, 1:58.534. That is almost matched by the number 8 of Roman Wozniak. He's just a quarter of a second back, 1:58.7 for the Team Virage car.
I think we should be seeing a good couple of seconds quicker than that. Oh, who's gone off? This into Europe.
That was Bekantsov down at turn 10.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but you can see as he got onto the brakes there, coming into turn 10, the car all of a sudden just snapped sideways to the left, which is unusual. On the bumps there, it's quite bumpy on the brake zone, and he was pretty lucky that he went sort of straight ahead and didn't go sharp left into the wall. So that will give him a little bit. He'll be tentative now on the brakes there, coming into 10. This is the spot where he had that issue. You can see the tyre marks going off there to the right of the screen.
Well, Paul Lancher was certainly rather more cautious there, but he's well up at the moment. Paul Lancher on the provisional pole time, 4 tenths up after the first sector. What's his second sector going to look like? We're going to find out in just a corner's time as he crosses the line to start the final sector of this lap. 4 tenths up after sector 1. Didn't look to be pushing that hard, but he's 7 tenths up after sector 2. It just goes show just how cautious having to be out there, Ollie.
Yeah, sometimes it's deceptive though. You could sort of see the way he came through turn 11, and then now he's coming through turn sort of 13. He's got confidence. He's really turning the car in and sort of almost launching it into the apex. But that's what you need to do in one of these cars, is really to carry the speed across the apex, use the downforce. But still,
I think he may just have been over there. That's going to be, I was just about to say, if he keeps it clean, and he didn't, that would have been a pole time. It was a 1:57.579, but he lost it immediately. It was
Track
a
limits.
second up, but it was right at the final turn, just pushed.
Yeah, he did, just pushed a little bit too hard. He's just got a little bit overconfident maybe, but this is the lap times will come,
Yeah.
and they are going to continue to drop.
Remember, he's got 6 minutes, 2 lap times required. It is still, it's not Timwell anymore. Remember, Wozniak it is that goes to the top, and by 0.4 of a second. So that's 2 good lap times from the number 18 Virage man. 1:57.788 now, 4.415 up, but will be aware that Paul Lancher is coming, and he's done track limits again on the first sector of that next lap for Paul Lancher.
Yeah, he's going to
so
have 2
now
laps
he's up
then,
against
that's
it.
He's going to have to really reset, get himself in the right spot so that he can do these next 2 laps trouble-free. Otherwise, he's going to find himself towards the back of the grid.
So it is Team Virage from High Class Racing, 23 events, number 23, Louis Stern. Alex Bekantsov, despite that whoopsie down at turn 10, he sits 4th. Paul Lancher needs 2 clean laps now. He's currently 5th. Breton Racing Shatik Delonka sits 6th, and that's an improvement from him. Shahan Sarkisian, Ajith Kumar at the moment sits in 8th with his best effort. And then 2 experienced drivers, Nick Adcock and Terence Woodward, both with track limits, both now up against it.
Yeah, and they just need to get a clean lap. It's really just about getting a banker. And that'll be one of the things that the teams are talking to their drivers about, is just really being smooth, being smart, just trying to just get everything there in the right window, and don't overdrive. You know, it can get frustrating in this 15-minute window to try and deliver a lap time, and you know the pressure is on, but you've just got to just rely on what you've done in the previous 2 days, understanding the track, understanding the conditions. Yes, it is cool here this morning, but just trust in the process that the team had talked you through in the pre-qualifying meeting. As Tim Whale is P1, 1:57.080.
That's a big improvement from him. And Tim coming back to racing fairly recently after something like 20 years away into GT racing initially, now into LMP3, and showing he's still got some pace.
Yeah, Roman there in P2, and only about 0.3 off. It was the car looks relatively stable, but he is moving some on the rear. Yeah, it just looks a little lively.
Now, this is Nick Adcock, isn't it? And
Yes.
Alex Bekantsov behind him.
Yes.
But Nick now needs these 2 laps.
Yeah, you got into the point here where you're sort of in a little bit of traffic, but you run out of time to back yourself up. You don't want to throw away that lap, so you kind of got yourself painted into a bit of a corner.
So the ones to watch here are Nick Adcock and Terence Woodward. They're at the bottom of the times at the moment. That's a big surprise, and that's all to do with track limits. It is the top 2, both of whom have got 2 good lap times, and they're set fair for both races, unless Paul Lancher can put together 2 clean lap times now. And I can tell you, he's in the final sector on board now with him, and he is way up on time here on both of them. And Tim Whale has done track limits in the middle sector. He's not going to improve on this lap time. He's going to have one more go at it.
Just got to deliver it through this final turn. No track limits on the exit. Just being smart, just winding it in, nicely done.
I think that's going to be enough.
It should.
Comes to the top. He goes to the top by 0.642 of a second. That's the potential delivered now for Silex Motorsport.
And he's got time for one more lap as well, so he's just got to keep on this same flow, keep it in the window, be smart.
He's got time for 2.
Yeah.
The pace in that lap, he's got 2 minutes and 38 seconds to go here. Here comes the number 8 car, Roman Wozniak. He has got another good lap, but it's not good enough to overhaul Paul Lancher. It does go by Tim Whale's best time.
But he's also got time to do 2 more laps.
He does indeed. So this could all change. And remember, it's 2 laps. And the rates of improvement here could see this turned on its head.
You could. Still drivers out there who have got track limits on their current laps, or previous laps, sorry, excuse me, but it's the likes of Nick Adcock and Terence Woodward who really are looking for big improvements here, and it is the timing screens are saying that they're going to do that. So
Nick goes 6th.
Yeah,
he will.
Good improvement by him.
Yeah, he could do 2 laps more if he gets pole position pace, but he's right on the edge. And I think he was having to be conservative there just to get a lap time in. Maybe we'll see him push now.
Yeah, We were just on board there with Ajith Kumar, again coming into turn 13, illustrating how bumpy it is and also how physical it can be inside these LMP3 cars.
Yeah, Ajith is taking his time to learn it. Smart way to play this. His job is going to be pretty simple here. Well, easy for me to say, sitting in a chair in air-conditioned office. But his job is to keep this on the island, keep it on the lead lap, and hand that car over in good order to Naren Karthikeyan and Julian Gerby later in the race. But a minute and 10 seconds to go. Paul Loncher leads this session. Does not look under threat for that time at this point. A 1:56.438.
But plenty of drivers have got personal bests coming up in the first sector and looking like they're nicely up to improve. So I think that we're going to see a real sort of compression in that timing screen, and guys are going to get a lot closer together here. So yes, Alex Bekantov doing a nice job as well.
Apologies, Ollie. It was an improvement as well from Terence Woodward. He's gone through with a lap time good enough for 8th place. He'll be disappointed with that. Used to being at the sharp end of a qualifying session in Europe, and it's not gone his way today. Alex Bekantov on track to improve vastly on his previous efforts, and that's a big lock-up from him as well. That won't help. It's still a quick lap time from him.
Yeah, I don't think he's given up too much time there.
No, it's not. He's not going to trouble pole position here. 10 seconds to go. He will see the checkered flag on this lap.
Nice and smooth through this final turn. Careful of track limits there on the exit, which is good and strong. This should be an improvement.
It goes 4th, and that's a big improvement. 0.836 off. Now what we're looking for is, can Paul Loncher finish this lap in competitive form? Because if he does, he's going to put himself in the window to double pole here.
Yeah, I think he's very close to having that already in his previous lap of 56.9. And that is good enough, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right.
For pole position for both races.
Yeah, because Roman Wozniak, it was a big improvement for him, wasn't it? And he's barely within that window.
No, his second fastest, I believe, is a 57.5. So let's see.
Loncher comes in here. He's just put a purple middle sector in way quicker than anybody else at this stage. He was late to the session, remember, but pushing at the end of this session appears to have delivered the goods for him. Comes down to take the checkered flag now on how good is this lap, and the answer is it's a 1:56.897. That is going to be good enough, I think, for pole position for race 2.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a double pole, I think, for CLX Motorsports.
Yeah, strong performance.
Team Virage's Roman Wozniak will be on the front row today. Need to double check who's got the quicker lap for front row tomorrow later on.
Tim Whale will not be improving this lap.
Was an improvement we saw from Alex Bekantov. Louis Stern improving too, and I don't think we're going to see much of an improvement from much anybody else at the end of this session. Bekantov, did he lose that lap? He lost the current lap to track limits.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Nick Adcock on track to improve, but not nearly enough to get up onto the front 2 rows of this session. It is a pole position for this afternoon's race then for Paul Loncher, and if we're right, he's got a clean sweep of pole positions for the season so far.
Yeah,
Ollie.
drove extremely nicely in that session. He's sort of a little bit overdrove to start with, and just trying to get the car right and in there and all sort of like slotted in as the session got going. But as the laps ticked by, he managed to really start delivering the performance from that CLX car. Did a nice job.
Tim Well, 3rd in LMP3 today. He'll start from the 2nd row this afternoon's race. Good effort in the number 94 car, the number 8 car for Roman Wozniak from Team Virage. He'll be on the front row alongside our pole sitter.
Yeah, he was the closest challenger, wasn't he, to Paul?
Was
and
indeed.
He did, again, a nice job in qualifying, but Paul was out in front, and I don't think anybody can really touch his pace. And, yeah, as we've seen, pole position twice in Sepang, pole position twice here in Dubai.
Yeah, and CLX Motorsport really delivering again a great performance in LMP3, as we've seen from them over the last couple of seasons. Warm out there.
Yeah, sort of sense of frustration as well, maybe.
Yeah, it's 0.642 of a second off. Very easy to get kind of glib about these gaps, isn't it? It's just over half a second, which seems nothing in many areas of life, everything in motorsport.
Yep, it is.
You know, progress and achievement measured in thousandths. Where did you lose that thousandth of a second is the question I love to ask people to their utter bemusement.
Drivers love to hear that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They'd expect nothing worse or better from me.
Yeah,
Into the pit
true.
lane, though, for our pole sitter in LMP3, Paul Lancher. And we'll go to the scrutineering booth. And,
I'm so sure that you'd seen the scrutiny there.
But mercifully he did. Didn't need the road sweeper. But it'll be LMP2 next for the final 15 minutes of qualification this morning. Remember, join us this afternoon for the race, 4 hours around this circuit later today, and again the same tomorrow. But that is our pole sitter today, and I think double pole sitter.
Yeah.
Nervy moments at one point there.
Yeah, but you sort of sense that he had the confidence just to get it through, get it hooked up. Nice job.
And that, by the way, for the non-pro drivers in particular, is part of the skill set, isn't it? Centering yourself again. There is the qualification classification. It is 1:56.438 for CLX Motorsports. Paul Lancher, the number 17 car, head of the number 8 Team Virage car. High Class Racing's 94 and the 13 from Inter Europol. 1, 2, 3, 4, all Ligers. And we're going to be going down to pit lane for a chat with Paul Lancher, our pole sitter, and David Addison. David has sprinted down to speak to him. He's with him right now.
Paul Lancher, 4 out of 4. Bravo. Well done. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. Today it's a great day because my neck is a little bit locked in free practice 1. I don't drop. And I really want to thanks to CLX. The car is amazing. It's easier to drive, and thank you for Paul. It's good.
4 from 4 is an amazing record.
Yeah, it's good. I'm really happy.
And now for the race. Will be tough in the temperature?
Yeah. I think the race, we work a lot for the race pace to the setup, and I think I'm very confident about this, and we wait and see.
Well done. Congratulations.
Great stuff there from Paul Lancher and from CLX Motorsports. And as we said, slow to get to the speed he required. Then a bit of a stumble with track limits when it looked like he'd made the breakthrough, but kept his head, Ollie Gavin. That was the track limits lap, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
You could see where he lost that early, didn't he?
He did.
But kept his head and delivered under pressure, and that bodes well for the race.
It does, it really does, and I think it's you know, he's clearly a class act like CLX are, and they seem to have a very strong grip on the performance in this LMP3 class. So yeah, just seeing the P2 cars being sort of placed into position here in the pit lane, the 45 Ponos machine.
Yeah, good to see them back actually, and with a bit of a change, by the way, for the Ponos Racing crew, not in the driver lineup, but actually in the support they're getting from United Autosports here, which is good to see. So they're adapting, and their car under the K2 Achino banner, same team, actually was bought by United Autosports after their previous efforts in the Asian Le Mans Series. This is our double winning car so far. It will be Roberto Lacorte, the owner of Cetera Racing. This car prepared, of course, by the spectacularly successful AF Corsa efforts. And we can see the Vector Sport RLR number 70 car. It is going to be 16 LMP2 cars. Daniel Schneider it will be to take qualifying at the number 70. We are going to see a last-minute driver change. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But and I really do mean last minute. And we were part of that debate last night, Ollie.
There's plenty of backwards and forwards and trying to find a solution for this particular issue.
Yeah, it's going to be the RD Limited car that's unfortunately with an injury for Fred Porter. I believe Fred is in Dubai, and if you're watching and listening, Fred, hope you are feeling better and we see you back for part of this season. This is Alga Pro Racing's Michael Jensen, reigning champion, of course, in the number 25 Orica from the multiple championship winning team and winners last weekend at Daytona. Their very first win at Daytona with the CrowdStrike by APR brand. And you were calling that race for NBC, Ollie, and they really did deliver.
Yeah, they did. They did a phenomenal job. And yeah, it was pretty tense there right at the very end. I was standing towards the back of their box.
30 seconds.
Here we are
start
seeing
LMP2
James
qualifying
Swetnam, who's
session.
going to be taking the
Sweetnam,
sorry.
yeah, but so late they've not even got a picture of him to put up against the car. So James has been doing some LMP3 racing in Europe and doing pretty well there. Lives locally, and boy will he be glad that he does.
LMP2 qualifying will start
came
in 10,
late last night
9,
and confirmed only
8,
this morning.
7,
with
6,
Fred Portad,
5,
I'm sure, telling
4,
the team
3,
he's not fit
2,
enough to get aboard this
1.
car.
Pit
So
exit is
James
now
Sweetnam
green.
it will be that takes to the track. Away we go for the final 15 minutes of qualifying here in Dubai. One more qualifying session to come in the season next weekend in Abu Dhabi, the capital, of course, of the UAE, and 16 Orica Gibsons will light up the rear Michelins.
Yeah, I think that there's quite a few of those drivers who are sort of watching the previous two sessions and seeing how every driver was tippy-toeing around. So certainly Michael Jensen was not leaving any of that to chance.
No,
and kept
absolutely
plenty
not.
of temperature into those rear Michelins. And let's just sort of see how these guys go. But it will take some time. And it's just all going to be about that patience and just trying to build that temperature into the tyre and not getting carried away, not getting frustrated. Just trying to build the speed in a smart and progressive way here so that you can find that performance. And there's all three APR cars there in one shot.
So 2025 and the Daytona winning effort. George Kurtz aboard the number 4 CrowdStrike Racing by APR car. Full 600 horsepower tune. These sonorous 4.2 litre normally aspirated Gibson V8 engines built in the UK. All LMP2 cars around the world use these engines and will do so for another couple of seasons yet until the next generation of LMP2. It's been quite the era for these cars, these teams, these drivers.
Well, one of the things that's so remarkable about this Orica 07 chassis and the Gibson engine is that it seems to be great to drive whether you are really not that experienced or whether you're a pro. It seems to really suit. Oh, James Sweetnam just getting in quite deep there into turn 1.
He's not driven the car before.
No.
It's just kind of, you know,
Sort of like, okay, what to expect?
I was remembering, as you did, a couple of years ago in the Age of Le Mans series, I can't remember which driver it was, did something similar to James, was called in right at the last minute and was literally getting instruction about how the car works as he's driving down pit lane.
Yeah, and you know, how do you, going up and down the gears, how do you find sort of things like neutral, or where's the pit lane speed limit button, where's the radio button, all of these different details that you've just got to work through, you know, because every single car is just ever so slightly different.
So just taking a check there, right, there has now been the change I was hoping for. We had a couple of issues with driver identifiers on timing. That seems to have fixed itself. Let's tell you who's out there. D-Car Engineering, number 3 car, a previous Asia Le Mans Series Championship winning team. Alexander Matchell is aboard that car. He's feeling quite croaky. He's not quite 100% fit, but seems to be going well out on track. George Kurtz, the Daytona winner with CrowdStrike Racing by APR. He's aboard the 4 car. Giorgio Roda, pole setter in the first race in Sepang. He's in the United Autosports car number 5. We have to keep reminding ourselves there. Phil Thayer, he had the opposite of George Kurtz, didn't he? Oh. Rotten luck
Oh, my
at
word.
the very start of the Daytona 24 hours.
Turn 1, lap 1.
It was indeed. The number 6 car, he's going to be hoping for better. John Falb aboard the 20 Algar Pro car. Stefan Aust is fit and joins us for the Asia Le Mans Series after recovering from injury suffered in Europe at the end of last season.
Brutal crash that was.
Yeah, it was indeed. He's aboard the 22 car, the green Proton car. Michael Jensen, our reigning champion, is the 25 Algar Pro car. James Sweetnam, we talked about in the 30 from RD Limited. Georgios Kolovos was quick. He's in the Inter-Europol competition, number 43. Miro Konopka, a man who's probably started more Asia Le Mans Series than any other. He'll be in his ARC Bratislava number 44, the bright yellow car. It is Yuriketsu Shijiko in the Pronos Racing 45. Roberto Lacorte last out onto track this morning in the 47 Chetelaar Racing car. Jens Renaud Moller, who set pole position for the second race. There he is on board the 49 car from High Class Racing. Kreitmann Tudis and Nielsen Racing 64. Daniel Schneider from Brazil in the Vector Sport OLR 70. And it's Horst Felbermatt Jr. in the Proton competition, number 8 in the famous family colours. That's the 16 cars, that's the 16 drivers. Now we move, Ollie Gavin, to talk about the speed. Jens Renaud Moller, with 10.5 minutes to go, is the first under 150.
Yeah, strong performances, and these guys have really worked hard at getting the performance straight out the gate. On board here with Phil Fayer. It looks like he's still working to get things in the window, but yeah, certainly strong performances from the High Class Racing and Algarve Pro 25 and the 43 into Europol. Giorgio Kolovos on board that car. I think this James is still getting himself up to speed here, and fully understandable, just trying to navigate his way around the Dubai Autodrome here in this Oroca 07 chassis. His very first laps in the car.
Look, an untroubled qualifying session will be an achievement here, is the straight answer. I'll be impressed if he's gets an untroubled run here. That's no mark on his copybook. It's simply that's the size of the challenge ahead. These cars are brutally fast.
They are.
They rely not just on the horsepower but the grip, and that, Ollie Gavin, takes an adjustment.
It does. It's the downforce level that I think will really have that big adjustment for James Sweetenham, and it's how he's going to be able to sort of carry that speed across the corners. And it's all about, it's John Falb really getting after it. The car bottomed out there as it came through the fight, coming into the final turn. Nearly lost the car to the inside, but managed to get it back under control. The times are plummeting though.
Jens Renaud Moller, George Kurtz went briefly to the top with a 1:49.3. Jens Renaud Moller now a 1:48.5, but Giorgio Roda 1:48.283. Quickest at the moment, 9 minutes to go. It's going to get quicker still.
It is. And that incident that John Falb had there coming into the final turn was the car bottoming out, tyre pressure still a little bit low, cars running a little bit lower to the ground, as we're seeing the DKR car and the Proton car coming down together wheel to wheel. That's 280 k's an hour down there into turn 1. Imagine that, side by side. That's twice the speed you'd be going on a highway.
Yeah, absolutely right.
It's crazy.
The capabilities of these LMP2 cars. LMP2, because the old pre-hypercar top-class cars were LMP1, but these cars capable in this form of under 3 minutes and 25 seconds at the Le Mans 24 Hours. Go and look at your history books and see where that sits in terms of the early days with Audi, the early days with Bentley. These lap times are very significantly quick. These are amazing race cars and are built to a controlled cost. It's an astonishing piece of motorsport engineering.
It is fantastic. Roberto Lacorte, he's the winner from, double winner in fact, in Sepang.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Sorry, I was distracted by something happening on the timing screen. Yes, indeed, Chetelaar Racing looking to kind of keep their championship run on here. There's all sorts of reasons why that's a magical moment for Roberto Lacorte. We'll talk about that when we get into the race. But still 2 cars under 1:49. Roda and Muller are pole sitters from Sepang. Everybody else is it's over a second off Giorgio Roda's time, under 7 minutes to go now.
Yeah, Giorgio Roda is just out there on his own, it seems. 47.9.
Yeah. John Falb goes through. No, actually, it was Phil Fayer went through third but lost the lap time. That was the adjustment.
Track limits.
Giorgio Roda goes through and improves again. He's under 1:48 now, half a second clear. 1:47.996 for Giorgio Roda, trying to nail in the top 2 times, remember, in this session. 6.5 minutes to go. Jens Renaud Moller half a second back on his fastest time, but that means that Roda has got 2 quick times now.
Yeah.
as things stand, pole in both races, but 6 minutes for that to change.
Yeah, but just to give you an idea of the spread here in the field and guys who've really got the car switched on, the tyre switched on, everything going, 47.9 is where Roda's at, and Roberto Lacore is down at 55.3. He's still working to get that car in the window and everything going here with the temperatures just that little bit lower.
Seems to be struggling at the moment, Roberto. He's just had a big improvement, I think. No, he's not, sorry, apologies. Another timing change. But he does seem to be struggling. He's done track limits on this lap as well. So he's under pressure now in the same way that we saw Nick Adcock and Terence Woodward in the LMP3 session.
Some of it could be that they're just trying to find that space on the racetrack and they just had to breathe a bit of track limits and just trying to find that big area on the track that you can operate and run and, you know, lay down your lap times.
Well, 5.5 minutes to go. Roberto's got to deliver a time now. Track limits all over the place here. This is looking tricky, including from Giorgio Roda. Does that leave the door open to Jens Müller? It does not at the moment, because Jens not on a quick lap.
No. And there are an awful lot of track limits being pinged up on the timing screen, and this is a sort of the pressure is building on these drivers. They just need to be cool, calm, and just think about what they've been able to do in practice and the testing sessions, just to be able to get the car back in the window, get back in your flow. You know, be slow with your hands, slow with your feet. Don't get too carried away. Just rely on that muscle memory and what you've done for many laps around here. Now that the likes of James Sweetenham can't rely on that, and he's really just relying on his raw talent and skill and his ability just to get in the car and just make it go. But he's doing a fine job.
Indeed. So James Sweetenham at the moment putting in quicker times than he's managed and putting himself in time up the order a little bit. Here's number 5 car. This is Giorgio Roda, already with the 2 fastest times in this session, we believe. Keeping an eye on Roberto Lacore. This is a much better lap from him. It's not going to trouble pole position, but it should drag him up the order from where he is at the moment, 16th. Daytona winner George Kurtz. He is currently sitting in 5th place. This will not be an improvement for George.
No, he's breathed it this lap. I think he's just trying to find some space on the racetrack. And he's still breathing it there. He's looking to just line himself up to start his next lap.
Roberto Lacore, by the way, he clears and is now up in 8th place, so that will be a relief for him. Jens Sweetenham, by the way, still keeps himself out of 16th place. He's just done a lap good enough to put him above Miro Konopka, the elder statesman of LMP2 here.
Yeah, we're going to see a compression here in the timing screens. I think all of the field's going to come together. George is just working away, coming through turns 1, 2, 3. This series of corners here are flat out in a P2 car. It comes up over the hill and plummets down into turn 6. Hard on the brakes, just using a little bit of curb. George got in a little bit deep there. He's just had to gather it up, and he's just lost the rear as he's gone into turn 7. And is this going to be an improvement? I don't believe it is. And it just looks a little bit messy.
Yeah, he's a second off after just sector 1, and Michael Jensen in pretty much the same place. Track limits from Michael, so there'll be no improvement for him, and it will be just one more attempt at this from Michael Jensen.
Yeah, and if you run off, you go wide, you pick up on the tyres, or the tyre just kind of just falls away slightly. You just got to reset and go again, and it can be quite a frustrating period qualifying when you're sort of driving around as hard as you can and trying to find the right spots and the right way to deliver the lap time. But if you start over driving, the 88 got in too deep there into turn 10, a little bit of too late on the brakes and just trying to carry a bit too much speed in, and it can compound itself and you just get more and more frustrated as a driver and you continue to overdrive and the lap time just never comes.
Just looking further down the timing screens, we've got 2 minutes to go. Keep an eye on who's improving. That was another improvement from Roberto Lacore, so he's now done 2 laps, good enough for 7th and 8th in this session. The improvements are coming towards the bottom of the timing screen from drivers have not really delivered on their promise. Georgios Kolovos, I'm very surprised, down in 12th place for Inter-Europol. And car 43 is now under investigation for not following the race director's instructions. We'll find out what that is. But Georgios is not having a good morning here.
No.
Who else is down in the doldrums. Well, good performance, by the way, from Stefan Aus, coming back.
Daniel Schneider here, just coming in through turn 13. Very bumpy, and he's got on the throttle there. The rear just came alive a little. No curb there at turn 15 and into 16. Can he wind the speed in? It kind of delivered the car a little bit to the apex, then he opened his hands and then went again. It just wasn't that clean across the final corner. Where does that put him? He is track limits there in the middle sector.
Yeah, as Jens Grenomuller has done that in the final sector, by the way. So that's going to ruin an opportunity for any improvement from him. 23 seconds to go. Looking for where we might see improvements here. John Falb, Horst Feldmeyer Jr., George Kurtz at 3rd, 4th and 5th. They're on quick laps. There is improvement available here if they can keep it on the island. George Kurtz, I think, has just fallen out of that groove. I'll say it out loud here, by the way. James Sweetnam just drops now to the bottom of the timing and scoring. I don't think he's done track limits at all. And 16th he may be, but that's impressive.
Yeah.
To climb aboard without incident.
Flag's just out now. Yeah, George takes that first, and then there's Michael Jensen.
Yeah, already on pit lane, by the way. I'm pretty certain I can call double pole sitter Giorgio Roda. Mathieu Vazevier in the ERC Bratislava pits.
Colourful hoodie he's got on there.
Indeed, that's a style statement there for Matt Vax.
You'd look good in that, I think.
I'd look amazing in that. I mean, I think he underplays it, let's be honest with you.
James Sweetnam here, just trying to get the grips with the RD limited car, rear moving on the brakes. As he got through turns 10 into 11, is he looking at an improvement? I think he is. Here he is, just a bit extra curb there on the coming out of turn 11. Get it slowed across this apex at turn 12. That's nicely done. Oh, he's a little bit off and on there on the throttle. Maybe just a little bit late on that shift. Romain Dumas there, his boss, deep in conversation.
Michelin,
yeah. And James coming through 13. Wide line there, but he's trying to pinch off that exit. Nicely delivered there to the exit. And through turn 15 into 16, is he going to be able to have an improvement here? I'm not sure it is. The first sector was good. Second sector, not an improvement, but the final sector to take the flag, is he going to improve, James? 52.6.
Well, here comes Miro Konopka to almost complete the session. So improvement from Miro, he stays 15th. Final car across the line is Roberto Lacorte, so it is going to be a double pole position for the number 5 United Autosports car and for, again, Giorgio Roda. 3 poles out of 4 this season, and again repeating the form we've seen over the last several seasons, but still looking for race wins.
Yeah, it does seem to be rather elusive, doesn't it? It
does,
for Giorgio?
so he's going to be desperate for that. Here, our championship leading car, Roberto Lacorte, 7th, I think. Yes, he was in the final order, so he did well to keep it all gathered up.
Yeah, he did. He just stayed calm, composed, and managed to deliver a good lap time. He sat there in 7th place, and I think his 2 teammates in Antonio Fuoco and Charles Malaysia will be happy with that performance.
Well, he's not going to want to talk yet about the championship, but there we go, our pole sitter. I can tell you that Roberto Lacorte has got quite the plan should he take this effort to Le Mans, because he will not be sharing that car with either of the 2 drivers with him, because they're both on factory hypercar duty.
Indeed.
But yeah, there's a very personal reason why he wants to take this effort to Le Mans. This is his only race programme of the year, by the way. But Giorgio Roda,
very happy, very, very happy.
And quite correctly so.
Yeah. Did a class of the field, isn't he? You know, he regularly produces these qualifying performances.
There's our 3rd place car. John Falb not able to drag the 20 car onto the front row today. One of the most experienced of the bronze drivers in this field, but 2nd row start it will be. Pole sitter in race 2 for Sepang will be front row here, and I think front row for Sunday as well. Jens Grenomuller from the 49 from High Class Racing, but it will be pole position for this afternoon's race for the number 5 United Autosports Oreca. Giorgio Roda sharing that car with Michael Jensen and Gregoire Saucy, and I'm pretty certain it's a double pole there for this man, the Italian. Been used to seeing him with Proton competition in Europe. Switches to, there is Michael Jensen and Gregoire Saucy to the left, Michael Jensen the first named McLaren hypercar driver for their 2027 programme. There is the order, and it's half a second and change clear for Giorgio Roda over Jens Reino Müller, and then a further 8/10 of a second to Algarve Pro Racing's John Falb. The number 88 car just a tad off that 5 thousandths off in fourth for Horst Felbermayr Jr. Then George Kurtz for CrowdStrike Racing by APR. Michael Jensen, the defending champion for the 25 from Algarve Pro, and the top 10 rounded out by Chetelaar Racing, United Autosports number 6 car, and DKR Engineering. Roberto Lacorte, Phil Thayer, and Alexander Matschel. They are the top 10 in this stellar 16 car LMP2 field. So that's all going to be about at the start of this race, Ollie Gavin. These guys keeping it clean, keeping as quick as they can, and critically staying on the lead lap.
Absolutely, and there's going to be quite a big change here in the conditions they're going to be out there on track with. You know, it's been cool this morning. The sun's just really still coming up into the sky, and by the time we've got to race start here, it's going to be significantly hotter, both ambient and track temp. And so engineering's going to be working hard on that. They're going to have been tracking the temperatures through the previous days and seeing how cars perform in all of those practice sessions and test sessions that we've had. So, you know, I think that it's got plenty of data to rely on, but it is going to be a step change for these drivers, and it's going to be how those bronze drivers prepare and take on that information, how smart they are. You know, these bronze drivers are given the car in that pressurized situation at the start of the race, and they really just need to get through and deliver it to their pros so they can round out the
sprinting like a young gazelle down pit lane earlier, we saw David Allison. He's with Giorgio Roda right now.
Giorgio, here we are again. Yet another pole. Well done.
Thank you very much. I missed the double pole in Sepang, and I got it back here. So happy. The car was super, and I think we're on spot also for the race. So really looking forward to race today and tomorrow, and try to clinch 2 wins.
What about the circuit in that session? It was getting faster. It was getting rubbered in, was it?
Circuit here, it's every morning it's full of dust because of the sand. It was like peak of 2-3 laps, and then the tire had a big drop. So we only had 2 to 3 laps to do the lap time, and it was enough to do double pole position. So it's fine.
We had 1 or 2 drivers suffering with track limits across all of qualifying. Is that a big issue here, or does that just depend how hard you're trying?
It depends how you're trying, because I did the 2 fastest laps, and then the 3rd lap I tried to push a bit more, and I got a track limit in T9 just by, I think, few centimeters. But with LMP2 cars, it's not like GTs where you can go over the curbs and it's easy to go out. So we need to pay attention to the track, and we don't want to go to do track limit because anyway we lose time, so it's not a gaining. So better to stay on track.
That's part 1 done now to the race. Giorgio, well done. Good luck for later on. So very happy Giorgio Roda, as he says. He missed out on the double pole in Malaysia. Jens Reino Müller, who got the other pole position there, has slightly blotted his copybook, because when he came into the scrutineering bay, he didn't stop, and he drove all the way through the garage, and he took the scales with him, and he's made lots of French officials get a little bit grumpy. So we'll see if anything comes of that by way of penalty. However, for Giorgio Roda, it's all smiles. And Ollie, Graham, now we're set for what should be a really good first race of the weekend.
Thanks, David. Well, fascinating stuff in qualifying. 3 very different races, I think, to come here, Ollie. In LMP2, everybody knows they've got to match and better Chetelaar Racing to make this this championship go to the wire. LMP3 is always a strategic battle, and then GT, well, it's pretty much the 21st century version of a medieval battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be tough. It's going to be fierce competition out there. And I certainly am really looking forward to how this is all going to sort of unravel and unfold. And much to look forward to this afternoon when we go 4 hours of competition here. Multi-class racing at its best at the Dubai Autodrome.
As always, quick fire, fascinating. Some of the answers, but only really the headlines this morning from those 3 15-minute qualifying sessions. The real points are going to be earned, the real battles are going to be fought. From 13:40 live, remember, here, and then for 4 hours around the Dubai Autodrome for the first of 4 races here in the United Arab Emirates. Race today, race tomorrow, and then we get on the bus and down the road to Yas Marina Circuit for this series finale weekend, and another 2 4-hour races featuring all these cars, all these drivers, and much more drama than we've seen so far this weekend. Storyline still to be written, Ollie. I think we're in for a fascinating couple of weekends.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I can't wait for the green flag or the lights to go out this afternoon here at the Dubai Autodrome, and certainly it should be action-packed, brilliant multi-class racing.
Stick with us, 13:40, remember, local time here in the United Arab Emirates. For now, from David Addison down on pit lane, from the sports car racing legend that is Ollie Gavin here in the booth with me, Graham Goodwin, we'll say goodbye for now. We'll see you this afternoon for round 3 of the 2025-2026 Asia Le Mans Series.